Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fortress of Comic News, episode 215. I am one of your hosts, Chris, alongside Mike, my co-host.
Hey, welcome everybody. Hope everybody is fine and warm and dandy on this Sunday/Monday for you folks afternoon. We have another returning and maybe most frequent guest now, Colin Bunn, coming back to the show today. So,
I believe hands down most frequently.
yeah. I wish I could tell you what we're going to talk about or what we did talk about, but that man writes so many books. I read a lot of them, and they're all good quality stuff. So stick around for that. I forgot MODOK was dropping this week, so that was a pretty good surprise.
I kind of did too. I thought it was next week for some reason, but it was fun.
It was wild. Well, we'll talk about that in a second, but some other cool announcements and stuff this week. It was a pretty good week for comic book fans.
Yeah, it's gonna be a pretty jam-packed show, everybody. Nice and dense.
So Chris and I really don't want to talk to each other. We just want to tell you about all the good things happening in the comic book realm. So this one, I think I had seen it on like the DC Leaks subreddit, and sometimes the stuff they post on there you take with a grain of salt. But I know you're probably pretty excited about this too. For TV news, Warner Media has announced that HBO Max is getting 2 new animated series. Okay, I'm interested. First up is Superman with My Adventures with Superman. This series will follow Clark and Lois with their best friend Jimmy Olsen. So, I mean, it's going to be like Adventures with Superman, right? Or Superman Adventures.
It's got a real anime style to it.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like a Japanese animation, which is fine. It's not like the movies where it's that real like over the top epic anime style. It kind of looks goofy, and I think it'll be fun to jump into that.
Second, this is the one that I was like, oh my god, okay. It's Batman, of course. J.J. Abrams and Matt Reeves are producing with none other than Bruce Timm, directing Batman Caped Crusader. Also, alongside the new series, HBO announced they're adding a new paid tier of $10 that gives you all the access to Max with ads. So you have J.J. Abrams and Matt Reeves teaming up with Bruce Timm. If this is bad, I have no hope for anything.
I want to see who's playing Batman. That's my big thing. Because, I think we're far enough away that we can kind of let Kevin Conroy go.
Yeah, true.
And nobody loves Kevin more than I do. Like, he is Batman, but I feel like we do need to kind of move into the next generation of who's going to be the voice of Batman.
Jensen Ackles did a pretty good job.
Is he the one that's doing the Long Halloween?
Yeah. At least it sounded pretty good to me.
Okay. So I'm excited for this. My one critique is the image they showed. I'm not a big fan of long-eared Batman.
Yeah, who knows what they're going to do with that.
But yeah, like I said, who knows? We'll see. And hopefully it's hopefully, I want them to get back to what made the animated series so great, which was it's a kid-friendly show. Obviously, we both grew up watching it, but it's very adult in its themes, and it handles things in a very adult manner. Like, I hope that they don't talk down to the audience like some of the other series have.
Yeah.
Speaking to you, New Adventures of Batman.
Yeah, you got burned, man. You don't want to go through it again.
Yeah. And as far as the new paid tier, I'm personally a fan of paying less money and just watching an ad or two. So I'm gonna downgrade my service to this. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, and more importantly, this means that J.J. Abrams is involved in the DC universe.
His company's been involved with Warner.
No, but I mean, like, we had heard that he might be doing a Superman movie, but now we have him officially tied to something with Batman. like something with DC Comics. So that's pretty cool.
I'm interested. We'll get into it more when we get into movie news, but I'm interested in the future of Warner and DC extended universe stuff.
Yeah.
With what's happening around everything. But yeah, JJ being involved is cool. I'm all for
that. Before we do other TV show talk, we have to add our new segment in. This is Pat's Flash Facts, everybody. So, as you all know, Chris and I don't watch The Flash, but I get a lovely update from my good friend Patrick every week. So here we go. Flash this week. Last season, the Speed Force was dying and Barry was losing his powers. I didn't even watch Flash last season. I don't know if you did either. It ended after the
CW verse ended after Crisis.
Right. So this is exist. I think he's just speculating what would happen if there was a season going on or not. This season, to revive the Speed Force through they have to revive the Speed Force through the power of love between Barry and Iris. Because,
oh my god.
Because this is some notebook level shit they're writing. But in reviving the Speed Force, they also create 3 other forces, Chris. Do you want to guess what the forces are they made? Obviously, Speed Force.
This whatever the slow force is.
Still Force.
Stilt Force.
Still Force. Which I think that was a thing in the comics. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, because you had the turtle dude who.
Yeah, you had the turtle. That was his name.
Oh, that's okay. That's what it was. Yeah. Because he came about recently too. Wasn't he in Death Metal?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. Okay, so you got that. And then I'm gonna guess the medium force. And the really, really fast Speed Force.
No, it's strength force and sage force. So they all have human forms. Obviously, the Speed Force is Barry's mom because why not? Because it's always all about Barry. Mm-hmm. All of them have been fighting, and the Speed Force is turning evil. So this episode, Barry's trying to get the Strength Force to fight for him, and the Strength Force is afraid to use her powers because she turns into a large Mexican luchador wrestler. Barry quotes, "You have to learn to use your powers at all costs," which, I mean, this has been a running theme for like 10 seasons now. She used her powers and hurt Cisco. Then by the end of the episode, she's concerned about her fear and learns to control her powers. And that's it. He says he'd rather have another speedster villain, which is I know you love about the Flash is all the different speedster villains. I don't know where the hell they've spiraled out of control at this point. Now it's turned into like Dawson's Creek.
All I can say is I'm real glad I don't watch this shit anymore.
I'm glad we're getting updates though, because it's just reaffirming the reason why. Like he's slowly getting more fed up every week, so it's. But he's a completionist, so he's doing it for for the completion.
Well, he can keep watching it and getting angry for us.
Yeah,
and then I can just get angry at these stupid or not that he's stupid. The explanation of how stupid the show is.
Yeah, because apparently it's not even about the Speed Force anymore. It's about Barry and Iris's love.
They should just make the Strength Force Hercules. Just him coming up and like, ugh.
Yeah, or something.
Instead of like female Bane.
Anyways, okay, now shows we actually watch. Bad Batch. Are you caught up with that yet?
Yeah, I did catch up. So the last week's episode was like it was getting the new clone Omega to be kind of a part of the gang episode, which was really touching. It was fun. She got her moment in this to kind of prove that she has worth. Mm-hmm. And then the second episode, or the fourth episode, the one this week, was they ran out of supplies. They had to go to this place. A bounty hunter finds them. They fight with a bounty hunter and are able to kind of scrounge their way to get more supplies so that they can keep going. I think all in all, it's good. It really feels like it's just another season of Clone Wars, which I'm fine with. Mm-hmm. And I like that in the background, the cloners are kind of having a crisis because the Empire has decided like we don't need clones anymore. and they're going to recruit people to fight on the side of the Empire.
They're like, we could brainwash people.
Yeah, it's actually funny because there's a line in there where it's just like, well, what's better, a clone or somebody that chooses to fight for our cause? It's like, yeah.
A little Nazi-esque, but all right.
I mean, it is the Empire.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the cloners are trying to figure out where they're going, and I have a feeling that this is all going to tie into Snoke and Palpatine and his resurrection for episode 9, and kind of explain like how he was able to gain that power, which I'm interested in. I think it's fun, so I really like it.
More importantly, I think I've watched the first 2 episodes of MODOK on Hulu. Have you finished 5 episodes in? First off, the animation's a little different than I would call it more like Robot Chicken. I think it fits really well.
Yeah, if you look, Seth Green's actually a producer on it.
Yeah, right.
The Robot Chicken team that makes it.
Yeah. I think and like at first having like concerns about it, like, yeah, it would work as an animated series. There's a lot of animated series out there now, though. It wouldn't work as a live action series just because of how like god awful disgusting MODOK is. But I think it works with like his face just looking so like derpy sometimes when he's like people are talking to him. 2 episodes in, it's really funny, it's hilarious. It gets a little depressing in the second episode. They like go through their whole life, like through time travel, him and his wife. I think him having a family is a hilarious thing. And his wife is more successful than he is because that's all he wants to do is be successful and take over the world. But she's like a YouTube blogger and like a Instagram person and is like way more successful than he is. What do you? I mean, you're the MODOK fan, so let me hear it. What do you think?
There's a couple really great lines, but there's a great line where he's talking to his younger self in that second episode. And his younger self's like scolding the older self, and he goes about being married and having a family. He goes, "Soon you will learn that MODOK likes big butts." I was like, "Yep, that's true." I think I tweeted it, but my favorite quote of the whole season so far is "Hoobastank is the Beatles of the early '90s."
Yeah, that shit is gold. Whoever's writing that show. Oh my god. Those jokes are amazing.
There's some great one-liners. The animation's cool. There's like a big fight sequence in episode 5 which made me so happy because like they go into 2D and it turns into like a Street Fighter-esque fighting thing.
That's awesome.
And then when they exit that, they both pull out Pokeballs and throw it at each other to try to get these like robot animals to fight.
Oh my god. The show's a lot of fun, dude, and Patton Oswalt is the perfect voice for MODOK.
Yeah, and everybody, like, Ben Schwartz is his kid.
Yeah.
And everybody knows Ben from Parks and Rec.
Yep.
But there's
Gene Ralphio. Gene Ralphio from Parks and Rec plays one of the characters, I think. I recognize his voice. I just can't remember who it was.
Yeah. And you haven't gotten to it yet, but they do a MODOK's 11 episode where it's MODOK 6, where he like gets kicked out of the bar. That's like where all the top tier villains go to. Okay. And, like Mr. Sinister's there.
Yeah.
And then he has to go to the bar with no name where he meets up with like the Melter and Armadillo.
Oh my god. And, like the shitty villains.
Yeah, exactly. So it's the episode that you're gonna love. Yeah. And Armadillo has a great line there where they're trying to figure out what to call themselves, and he says we should be the Armadillo 6.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
MODOK it's a masterpiece. I can't wait to finish it.
Yeah, it is. It is actually really good, and like just the little hints of like, he shrinks himself down in one of the episodes, and it's like he just casually mentions, "Oh, it's Pym particles or stuff like that." So the Marvel references there. Like the first episode, he steals Iron Man's boot. Like that's his small win. He didn't defeat Iron Man, but he stole his boot, and he's like really proud of it.
Well, there's a moment where they go to the Avengers Tower, and he's gonna destroy Iron Man, but he's like drunk, and he's just sitting there like yelling at Avengers Tower, and Iron Man comes down, and John Hamm plays Iron Man.
Yeah.
And he's just like, Iron Man goes like, I heard you call me like a wet bitch. Like, what is that? And he just
Yeah.
like throws his drink in his face. He goes, is that you wet bitch? It's like, this is amazing.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. Um, it like they picked the perfect character to do this with. Like,
Yeah, and they can go into so many cool things. Like I said, they're doing some of like there's an episode with like the Z list
yeah,
villains, guys I like had to look up because I never heard of.
yep,
Um, and it's fun too because the whole premise of the season as a whole is
hmm,
that a company called Google,
yep,
uh, takes over AIM, and then he has to kind of learn to live inside this corporate like enterprise that he no longer
right,
completely runs.
yeah,
So I like some of the commentary that's going on there too.
hmm,
It's well worth your time.
yeah. All right, let's hop over to movie news. Uh, I didn't even watch this one honestly, just because of how awful the other GI Joe stuff was. But the Snake Eyes trailer, GI Joe Snake Eyes trailer dropped. What were your thoughts on that?
I'm actually a little sad you didn't watch it because I think it's a very Mike movie.
Really? Okay, then I'll watch it if you tell me to
Yeah,
watch.
it's or a trailer, I should say, to a movie. It's a ninja dude with a sword fighting other ninja dudes. Like,
Yeah.
there's not a lot there, but the action sequences look cool. Like, they show them fighting during a high speed car chase.
Hmm.
They show him getting the suit and everything. They're obviously not doing the whole him not talking thing,
Who
which I don't know a
plays him?
lot about GI Joe, but
Yeah,
I don't know who plays him to be honest with you.
I'll look it up.
I don't know a lot about GI Joe, but I know that Snake Eyes doesn't really talk much or
Right.
is
He's
mute,
yeah. Yep.
and he obviously talks in this trailer. So, but it looks, I mean, it looks adequate. It's not gonna be something that I'm gonna go head over heels over, but it wouldn't shock me if you really enjoyed it.
It is Henry Golding from Crazy Rich Asians. So, and
Quick
I'll
quick
yeah.
commentary on Hollywood right now. I feel like every time we discuss an Asian actor,
Yeah.
they come from the movie Crazy Rich
Crazy
Asians.
Rich Asians, yeah. No, for real. And I heard that movie was awesome. I actually haven't watched it. But I think that was one of the ways to like get these actors and actresses into the Western film industry was like put them in that movie
Okay.
because I at least the way I see it, because they're in a lot of other movies like maybe like love stories and stuff that are like aren't really that popular with, people that aren't interested in those things. And I think Crazy Rich Asians kind of bridge the gap, because I know a lot of
Well,
people that went to see that movie.
yeah, like that movie held no interest for me, and maybe this
Right.
is another commentary on Hollywood, but now I'm seeing all these Asian actors getting gigs, mostly in
Yeah.
martial arts movies.
Yep.
That's the commentary. But they all seem to be coming from that movie. I'm just like,
Mhm.
okay, did this movie have something that I don't know about, or was it
Yeah.
just like
No,
you said?
it's supposed to be really good. I just and there's some truth behind it too. Like it's like there's some base in truth of like, Asian families and the wealth behind them and stuff. So, but I just watched the trailer really quick, and like you said, sword fighting, yeah, it kind of is my thing. Um, I was kind of like all set though for the year with the Shang-Chi trailer,
Yeah.
and I was like, and that's going to be better quality, but I'll probably end up checking this out. Like I say, I have a low bar when it comes to entertainment, so. Um,
Yeah, and I'll say that second GI Joe movie I really liked.
I don't even
I'm
remember if
at,
I watched it. I don't know.
it's much better. Like it gets much more cartoony and a little bit over the top, almost
Uh-huh.
Adam West esque.
Okay.
And The Rock's in it,
Oh, I
and he
did
has a
see it.
giant Gatling gun. And
Yep.
spoiler
Yep.
alert for like a 8-year-old movie, but like it ends with Cobra taking over the White House. So I was
Hmm.
like, I remember watching it and being like, okay, I'm in. And they're like, we're not doing GI Joe anymore. I was like, what? You're gonna end me on that?
Yeah, I remember they dropped the flags and stuff on the
Yeah.
Cobra flags. Yeah, I do remember that movie. Yeah.
I actually kind of
Um,
liked that first one was garbage, but that second one
yeah.
I kind of liked.
Um, Speaking of The Rock, he's landed another DC movie role. Um, He's going to be in the Legend of the Super Pets movie. He will play Crypto, the super dog. Awesome. Why
Yeah,
not?
I'm already in on this movie. That
Yeah,
makes sense.
and I like, dude. This movie's going to make $1 billion now. Well, at least $1 billion in China because everybody loves The Rock in China. Like, so I mean, the worldwide domestic or the worldwide grossing of this movie is going to be ridiculous.
When I literally looked at a picture of crypto and then
Yeah,
just started like playing The Rock in my head, and I'm like, it
yeah,
fits.
oh yeah,
Fits
for sure.
perfectly.
Um, yeah, this is pretty interesting. So, Discovery Incorporated has purchased Warner Media from AT&T. This purchase makes Discovery Incorporated the new owners of HBO, Warner Brothers, and DC Comics. Um, what do you think that means for the DC universe?
Yeah, from what I heard, AT&T was kind of like struggling a little bit and had to get rid of stuff. Um, that's the basis for this. I won't get too much into the video game stuff because I know that's like a clusterfuck all on its own.
Right.
But I'm interested because Discovery is more of a media-based company,
Yeah,
and while they
yeah.
yeah, while they do stuff that maybe we don't watch or interested in necessarily, their main focus is creating media and
That's
entertainment. So I'm interested to see how they handle. I mean, I think HBO you leave alone. Like HBO has been killing it for a while now, and I think that this might be good news for DC because it might be the parent company they need to kind of let them do what Marvel does for Disney, which is
hmm
just exist.
right, right, and do their own thing, kind of.
Yeah, and just be the IP farm that they should be. Like they don't need to make a ton of money. Like if they
Right.
come close or they break even, like that's good enough for DC Comics. I mean, that's
Yeah.
pretty much what Marvel Comics does right now. My
Um,
big interest here is Warner Bros. Uh, where they go forward. Does Discovery have a plan? Like, do they want to maybe scrap everything and actually try to do a proper extended universe for DC Comics?
I'm curious about like the whole streaming thing because Discovery is part of like the Food Network, it's part of the Eurosport network, um, Play Sports Network, like everything. There's, Family Discovery Family, there's all these channels that they own, like, and assets that like their reach is kind of endless on what they do now. They have their hands in like everything. So kind of like you said, kind of like a Disney. And this, I guess it's good. I mean, maybe we'll see.
Eh, I mean, yeah, maybe they want it. Part of this could be HBO Max. Like
Right.
they obviously need to get into streaming in some way. I
Yep.
don't know if Discovery has their own service right now. I don't believe they do.
I thought so. I know there's, yeah. I don't. They have a Discovery. I did look this up. There is a. It's called Discovery Plus.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, and it's a streaming service that has TLC, HGTV, Food Network, Discovery, Animal Planet, and a couple others on there. Which, I mean, HGTV alone has such a huge following, and so does the Food Network. So maybe HBO Max goes away, we get Discovery Plus, or they'll do some package deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or they Paramount Plus it and rebrand them and push them together.
I can't believe
There's
it's called Discovery Plus.
that's yeah, it's hilarious. That is right. I didn't think HGTV is huge. Like
Oh
our
yeah,
moms like love HGTV. Like
yeah,
that
yep,
generation loves HGTV.
yeah,
Even like my girlfriend watches it here and there
yep,
because
yep.
that and it's a
Oh yeah,
meme online now. Like
right.
I breed cats in the afternoon, and he draws doodles on a napkin. I have $2 million for a house.
Yeah, that my budget's $2 million. I mean, like some of the shows are. I mean, it's quality stuff. I mean, I don't watch them. I know of them. I mean, Food Network I watch all the time because who doesn't like to watch food? But
I
um,
I think this is Discovery's way of quickly gaining IP, much like
yeah.
Disney did years
Yeah.
back when they got
Yeah.
Marvel,
Yeah.
and broadening their reach.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would not be shocked if in 2 to 4 years we get a MCU-esque plan from Discovery of like Patterson's Batman was the beginning. That was the Iron Man. Now we're gonna bring in blah 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 and create
Right.
this thing. So
Hopefully.
I'm
Yeah,
interested in
so
this. I think it's
we'll
good
see what
news
it
for
says.
everybody, especially
Yeah.
DC Comics.
Yeah. Speaking of streaming services, did you watch Army of Dead this week? I have not watched it yet, but I will say generally I've been hearing it's meh. Um, I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
So I'm gonna start this with it's a zombie movie, so it gains like 4 points just for being a
Just
zombie
for having
movie.
zombies in it? Okay. Okay.
I really liked it.
Yeah.
It combines two movie uh, genres that I really like, which is the
Mhm.
heist movie and the zombie movie.
Mhm.
I'll say Batista's character is the dullest thing on the planet. Like
Really?
he's literally just a dude with muscles and a gun.
Okay.
And his whole motivation of like his wife died in
Mhm.
Vegas and him and his daughter got out and now they don't talk anymore. And it's like, okay, it's stupid, but okay, I
Yeah.
get it. So he gets his team together. I really like the team. Like the helicopter pilot's my favorite character. They literally go up to her and they're like, "Hey, we'll give you $2 million to like do this mission," and she's like, "Yeah, I'm in."
So
Do you
the
want to
funny
even
part
know
about
what the mission
that,
is?
yeah, that actress was digitally added to the movie, right? I heard about
Yeah,
this today. Like her and Batista never met.
yeah,
They digitally added her to the film after, which is wild. I didn't even know you
yeah.
could do
And
that.
she's one of the high points of the movie, in my opinion.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah. Because I don't know the exacts. I know the guy who originally played that role got caught with some underage people. We'll leave it
Oh,
at that. And
okay.
that's why they did it.
Yeah.
So I like her a lot. The like Coyote character, because so Vegas has been basically quarantined off and nobody can get in or out. But
Hmm.
there's obviously ways like, and there's this character who's basically a coyote that can get people in and
Hmm.
out of it.
Hmm.
And I like her for a couple of reasons. One, because in my high school years, this was exactly the type of woman I would date. Like she had short blonde hair. She was wearing an exploited T-shirt. She was all pumped out, and I'm just
Like the
like, so they're
affliction
going
teacher.
like, "Yep." But
Uh-huh.
her character's really cool too. Like she's that person who just like holds the door between our world and their world.
Hmm.
Um, and the team he gets is fun. Like the action sequences are cool.
Yeah.
I like the whole heist thing, and then obviously there's a double cross.
Hmm.
I think all in all, it's a good movie. I mean, it's not going to win any awards. It's not the best thing you've ever seen. But if you like zombie movies and you like heist movies, I liked it. I thought it was
Hmm.
good.
Okay. Yeah, I'll end up checking it out at some point this weekend. Um, all right. Well, that being said, let's jump to this awesome interview we have with Mr. Cullen Bunn, and we will see everyone on the other side.
And we're back.
Yeah, so I mean, if you don't know Cullen by now, he's pretty much the third person on this show. How often he's here. So yeah, check his stuff out. I mean, he's got a book for you. I'm sure he's written a book in one of your interest or some realm of a fan base somewhere. But just a cool dude, man.
Yeah. I'm excited for Lucky Devils. That sounds awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's get through this comic news. We got quite a bit to shovel through here. Marvel has now announced a new Deadpool comic coming this August. Chris is really excited. Deadpool Black, White, and Blood is a 5-issue anthology series in the vein of Wolverine and Carnage, Black, White, and Blood. And the first creative team announced is Ed Bryson and artist Wilke Portaccio. So, going to be checking that one out, I think.
Probably not. It's an
But
interesting anthology idea.
Yeah, and there's enough Deadpool fans out there that'll be reading that for sure.
Oh yeah.
New Black Panther comic coming after the final issue of the Ta-Nehisi Coates run. The 12 Years a Slave writer John Ridley is taking over the book with a new #1 and is joined by artist Juan Cabal. That's crazy. 12 Years a Slave, Academy Award winning, was it Best Picture, right?
Yes,
I believe
so.
That's a huge deal, so I might even check that out. Especially a new #1 is a good starting point,
Yeah, so now he's not only writing Black Panther, he's writing the new Batman for DC, where it's what's his name's son as Batman.
It's Duke as Batman?
Yeah, Duke is Batman.
Yeah, okay. Awesome.
I might check this out because I mean, we'll talk more about it later, but I've never cared for Ta-Nehisi Coates' fictional writing, so I didn't even bother with Black Panther. But I'd be interested to see what John Ridley has to say on the subject.
Yep. Darkhawk is back, everyone. I know we've all been waiting.
Speculators are so happy.
With the new ongoing series this August, the series will be written by Kyle Higgins alongside Juan Ramirez on the art. So, yeah, Darkhawk, the character nobody asked for.
If anyone was wondering, the 90s are officially back.
Yeah, we've come full circle. Here we are. We thought they warned us about this, but we're back. If you're enjoying Avengers Mech Strike, I know Chris and I are, then you're going to love this new series from Jim Zub and artist Jeff Ruse called Tech on Avengers. This series has a similar feel to Mech Strike, but the mech inspiration comes from Japanese culture. Think Avengers Gundam. Yes. I don't need to think further than that. Give me the book.
Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah. Sell me the book.
I like Jim Zub too.
Yeah, Jim Zub.
The idea alone sells me, yeah.
Yeah, come on. DC has announced they're publishing an Aquaman 80th anniversary. It's so funny. Like, I feel like last week I had talked to you about that. Well, what year constitutes an anniversary? It's like it seems that they're just like picking years now. They're publishing an Aquaman 80th anniversary 100-page special coming this August. This one-shot comic features stories from creators like Dan Jurgens, Jeff Johns, Stephanie Phillips, represent Jeff Parker, and many more. Awesome. I'm picking this up. Chris, you're picking this up.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, DC hates its fans, so it's not making an Aquaman book right now.
Right.
So I need something to hold me over.
Yeah, like, what the hell, man? How do you not have an Aquaman book out?
But I'll say Jeff Johns is New 52 Aquaman. So good.
Really good.
And I have been telling Stephanie that if she can bring back Aquaman to a monthly book, then I will forgive all of her sins of liking bad Pop-Tarts.
Bad Pop-Tart flavors? Listen, that's you might be on your own island with that strawberry Pop-Tart shit. IDW has announced they're publishing 2 new Transformer miniseries.
Transformer!
Sorry for that. Both of these series will be Elseworld type stories. First up is Transformers King Grimlock. Will bring together Transformers with the world of magic and fantasy. That sounds pretty awesome. See, this is what interests me. Like when I read the Green Lantern / Star Trek crossover, I read that trade because Star Trek on its own doesn't really interest me. I like Green Lantern, but like the two some of those feel like they fit nicely together. So I'd be really interested to read about this. And then Transformers Shattered Glass, which sets the Cybertronian war between Earth and Cybertron. So, interesting stuff.
Yeah, the second one not so much, but that first one I think sounds awesome.
Yeah, especially Grimlock. Come on.
So, especially as Grimlock.
That's everybody's favorite. Yeah. Vault Comics has announced a new series from Mark Russell, and artist Benjamin Tiesma. This series is a horror story about a cursed DVD that traps people inside of its world. Coming this August. I mean, Mark Russell, we're already reading it. I mean, Mark Russell got me to read a Marvel book this week, so kudos to him.
Yeah, I'll at least check it out. The premise seems kind of not. It sounds
wonky, but Mark Russell is gonna do the whole he's gonna make fun of the trope things. Like if he doesn't,
I'll check it out, even though,
Yeah.
like I said, I don't think it's going to be up my alley. But I said the same thing going into this week's Mark Russell book, and you'll
Yep.
see what I think about
Oh,
that
yeah.
later.
Jeff Lemire's teaming up with artist Tyler Crook for a new edition of the Black Hammer universe. The Unbelievable Unteens is a Teen Titans-esque group coming this August. Holy shit. Yes.
Yeah, more Black Hammer all the time.
Yeah, the Unteens, like this, a Teen Titans-esque story, Jeff Lemire's doing it. I mean, what a great universe that he started here, and I want to know more.
Yeah, and we talked earlier. I mean, we had Colin Bonnet on the show who writes 50 books a day, but Jeff at one point was that guy too. But now I'm equally as impressed with what he's doing today because he has an entire Marvel DC universe he's creating where he's the only writer outside of one book where it's like one-shot stories.
Right.
Yeah,
good for him. Image Comics and Todd McFarlane announced the next one-shot edition of the Spawn universe, King Spawn #1, will feature art from Brett Booth, Philip Tan, and Todd McFarlane, and more with stories spinning out of Spawn universe #1. So, could be a Spawn fan.
My only thing here, I'm going to check out Spawn Universe #1.
Right.
I've already said that.
Yeah.
And if I like that, I'll check out King Spawn #1. My only thing here is he teased that there was like 4 series coming that he had all these people attached to.
Right.
Just announce the fucking series already. Because,
right, like tell us who's doing what.
Yeah, because one of them, like Donnie's name was thrown out there, and I'm just like, I'll follow that man to the ends of the earth. So which one's he doing so I can buy it already?
Yep. My Little Pony by Donnie Cates. Watch out.
I'm there. I'm there.
You heard it here, You heard it here first, folks.
Even after that year of torture that was me reading that book, I will still go back for Donnie.
Yep. I forgot about that. Good times. 3 legendary comic creators start an upstart comic publisher. No, it's not a bad joke. It's the announcement of Binge Books. The 3 creators are Roger Stern, Ron Frenz, and Sal Buscema, and their first comic is a 68-page one-shot called The Heroes Union #1. The Heroes Union is a new superhero team tasked with stopping the powerful genius that is Nocrate, the Auteur Cosmic. So, if I had to say this, I'm just thinking out loud here. This reminds me a lot of like what Ahoy did and what Tom Payer did, right? You have these comic book veterans. They know their writing styles. They know what they can do. They know what people want to read, and that's kind of what it sounds like is going on here with Binge Books.
Yeah, and when I dove deeper into this, because these are 3 guys that, I mean, they've done a ton of stuff, but they're mostly known for their Marvel work in the 80s.
Yep.
And it sounds like they want to bring back that feel to comics, and I'm all for it. Like, bring back the. I'm all for bringing back the fun, like we've talked about in the past. So I'll check this one out. I mean,
68 pages.
Yeah, and Roger Stern alone is gonna get me to go. So
yeah. I'm pretty cool. I'm pretty cool with reading that. Also, give me more indie publishers to pick up, dude. This is awesome. I love seeing this. So
yeah.
Eisner Award-winning writer / artist has a new creator. Own launched project and launched his own website. Carl Kerschel just released his new manga / Metroid-inspired comic, Death Transit Tanager, on carlkerschel.com. You can read the whole issue on the website for free or get a downloadable PDF for $3.99. Yeah, I checked this out. It's really cool. I mean, if you're a fan of manga-style stories, if you're a fan of Metroid, plus it's Carl Kerschel writing it, so what more do you want?
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to read it, but it looks, from the few pages I flipped through, it looked awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool stuff.
And I like the lead character design. I think she looks really cool.
Yep. Manga fans are mourning the loss of Berserk author Kentaro Miura, who passed away at the age of 54 from acute aortic dissection. You're making me read medical terms. This is tough. Berserk is a long-running manga that is published in the USA by Dark Horse and is not yet to be finished. Yeah, so this is very sad news, very young age that Kentaro passed away at. But Berserk has a huge fan base. I never watched it myself. I actually was starting to get into it a little this week just because I was like reading into what it was. It's not finished yet. There's 2 different animes that are part of it, but it's like a medieval Middle Ages style anime or manga, and then anime adapted it. It's the world building in it is crazy, and the characters are nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, so very, very sad to see him go at such a young age. But in a world where there's so many different animes and mangas, to have something as a staple like Berserk is a pretty good legacy to leave behind.
Yeah, so I've never seen the anime, but I've read a good chunk of the manga, and it's very dark, very violent,
Yep.
fantasy comics. And what I was reading too, I didn't realize this about Japanese comics and how they're made, but like when this first started off, it was just him doing everything. He wrote it, he drew it,
Right.
got it published, and as it became more powerful, more popular, he started to gain what they call assistants, which to me sound like what American comics does. Like he's got to do the pencils for you, and this guy does the inks for you, and so on and so forth.
Yep.
So there's a whole team that's been working on this book for years and years, probably decades, and they have more of his outlines for the story to continue. So there's talks that they might finish it. I obviously it won't be the same as having him here to finish it himself, but there's discussion of like maybe they'll keep it going and just like kind of wrap it up to where he had outlined it to go. So that would be interesting. But it does suck. It's a great series. So
this is interesting. Years ago, Diamond announced that they were creating an app to let comic shoppers manage their pull list at any comic shop. Now we have an official release for this app, June 7th, and it's called Pullbox. Diamond has said that it'll be free for users, it'll be free for comic shops through 2021, as long as they are open for 40 hours a week and are part of Diamond Shop Locator. Diamond has also said that DC Comics will be on the app, even though they are distributed by Lunar. Interesting stuff. I wonder how it's going to work if you want books shipped to you, as they're going to like maybe be a setup for that. I don't know.
I don't think that, at least initially, I don't see that being a part of it. I think that's just a way for independently owned comic shops to kind of have their own app on your phone. So my shop is called Two Kings Comics. We talk about 1,000 times, but like that's one guy who owns it, one guy who runs it. He's never going to have his own app unless like they blow up. But this is a way for him to have an app on my phone that I can interact with his store, which in today's day and age is like, that's how we do it. So I think that's big. My big question here is, I understand, I mean, who knows if Diamond's going to be around in a year, but after 2021, this year, comic shops are going to have to pay for this app.
Right.
Is it going to be worth it for them to keep doing it? You know, I don't know, but we'll see. I kind of like the idea, and it does help give the customer a little bit more control over their pull list.
It's interesting that DC Comics are on there too, which aren't even being distributed by Diamond anymore. So
I feel like you had to, though, because if you're going to do a pull list organizer for these shops, like, I mean, it depends on your shop, but DC's, you know, anywhere from 49 to 51% of the market. Actually, that's not right. It's probably 30 to 40% of the market. And who knows, your shop, that, I mean, my shop, that probably flux more to like 60% of the audience, where other shops may be less, but still, like, that's a lot of your business. So
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of business and what we've been purchasing, what did we read this week, Chris?
Comic books.
Yeah, I have let's talk Snow Angels #4. This is Jeff Lemire and Jock on the art. This is the end of book 1, they call it. Kind of wraps up the story. We don't really get anywhere. Besides the main character, the father dies in this issue. He kind of tells his 2 daughters that he had a brother and he stole his wife from his brother, pretty much. It's kind of messed up situation. And he told them that he had left the trench before, like he had gone that far, and he was probably the reason the snowman was killing everyone. So the dad sucks. But he tells them that you're able to leave the trench, you can do it. So he They leave. They get away. And there's the fight scene with the snowman is he like stabs the snowman, and we realize that it's like a person in a suit because he starts to bleed. So he can be hurt. He's not like this mythological or like android thing. I thought it was overall it was okay. Like I said, nothing really happens. But
Yeah, I didn't read this issue, but I've been kind of meh on the whole series. So I might read it eventually, but I couldn't force myself to read it when I got the review copy last week.
Batman the Detective #2. This is the Tom Taylor, Andy Kubert story. I had to catch up on this from last week, so it's really good. Pretty much what Chris said. There was a cool scene with a misdirection though, of like because the villains dress up like bats, like Batman, and the person's talking to his old friend. You think it's Batman, and then he steps out of the shadows, and it's the Batman in a white suit. And it's like, oh shit, the villains found him before Batman did. So that was a pretty cool scene. Justice League #61. This is Bendis and Marquez, and then the second story of Justice League Dark with Ram V and Zermanico on the art. Justice League 61. We left off with the JL is following Brutus to his homeworld because like this dude keeps attacking us. Let's just follow him over there and mess him up. When they get there, a lot of their powers are different. Like Black Canary has amplified powers, but like Superman has weaker powers. So some people are doing better than others. The Naomi character is like her arms are starting to like fade away, like she's like fading out of existence or something. But it sets up a huge fight between Brutus and Superman because Brutus is like, "Oh, you came to my planet. Like I'm actually powerful here." And it seems that like he's really determined on taking over Earth. Like it's their last option for a world to live on. Because he has this whole team and like people that he's working for that created this device to visit other worlds. And then the Justice League Dark story, the story is Merlin's back. He's grabbing all these old magical tools. He resurrected he used these pages to go in this bookstore and like create all these like mythical beasts, bring them to life to like terrorize people. The JL Dark goes there. They find these pages that he used to summon the creatures, and they jump into the pages because they believe that's where he went. And they go into this place like it's called an infinite library. It's basically like the library of all magic and stuff. It's a pretty cool area. They know he's been there, and they need to talk to this librarian about where he's going, what weapons or tools he's seeking next. But we do find out that the whole book starts off with him killing. Merlin comes back to life and he kills one of the Knights of the Round Table that's guarding the sword of Excalibur. And we find out that she's still alive. And so she's like an old world, like Knight of the Round Table, but now she's in our world. And she ends up like flying to Gotham. And that's kind of like where we leave her character off. It's a pretty interesting character. And then I had Shang-Chi, but I didn't get to reading that yet. It does like give you an intro. The Shang-Chi book takes place after the events of the last Shang-Chi book and the Legend of Shang-Chi. So it's directly tied to what other books have been coming out. I just have to read it still. But I did read this book. I was really happy with this. I've always wanted to get back into Fantastic Four. And Mark Russell, Sean Izaakse on the art. This is the book that got me back into Fantastic Four. It's Fantastic Four Life Story #1, and I believe you read this too, right?
Yep.
First off, art is amazing.
Perfect.
Now this series has been done before, this style, right? This life story thing, Chris?
Yeah, Spider-Man Life Story that Chip did last year, I believe.
So how does this work with continuity? Because this issue goes all the way through the '60s. Like by the end of the series, are they going to be old?
It's its own universe. So
okay,
it has nothing to do with 616.
Yep.
Yeah, everything that happens in real time.
Okay, so they're going to be like they'll be like 90 years old by the end of the series.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Because when Spider-Man Life Story ends, like Peter Parker's gray and like pretty old.
I mean. Yeah, dude, this book was amazing. We get the '60s, we get the origin of Fantastic Four, we get the relationship between everybody, and we get the whole. This was one of the issues that I own, I believe, is the cover is this monster with the thing on it where the guy swaps bodies with Grimm. He offers Ben Grimm like, I'll swap bodies with you, you could be a human again, and then he uses his body to like go back into the I forget what the other plane is, but and try to kill Mr. Fantastic. But there's so much cool stuff. I mean, you get to see the relationship between all the team, and there's this overarching thing of like when they first get their powers, they go out to space. Reed Richards has a vision of Galactus, and he knows it's going to be a big problem coming up, and that's kind of like the thing that keeps haunting him is Galactus is coming. I really like the story. I thought it did great characterization of everybody in the team and some of the big. It hit the big points of like Fantastic Four. But what did you think?
So I hinted at it earlier. I'm not a Fantastic Four fan. Every time I try them, I just don't care.
Yeah,
And I really love this book. Like it was a great little origin story of who the Fantastic Four were.
yep,
I like that Reed was already kind of a big deal when this started.
yeah. Working with the president and stuff.
Yeah, and it kind of makes a little bit more sense of everything, like why Johnny's there when he's like a teenager.
Right. Yeah.
And a few other things. I like the setup for Galactus. Obviously, next issue is going to be all about that. We got the moment with the Mole Men and Mole Man. There's just so much good in this book, and I thought the art was perfect, especially for the 60s aesthetic.
Yeah.
And I like how they kind of mesh the characters in with some of the events of the 60s, like the women's rights movement, civil rights movement, and just the space race especially.
Yep.
And then the way it ends, I just love, because it's one of my favorite historical moments to read back on, that the last page ends on. So I love this book. I thought it was great. I didn't think I would like it anywhere near as much as I did.
Yeah, it was awesome. Mark Russell does it again, man. That's what I had this week.
And then to go on the opposite side of the spectrum, Captain America 29 still sucks.
Oh man.
One more issue, everybody. Here's a good one. Way of X #2. In this, we figure out like where Legion is and what's happened to him and kind of what he's trying to get to. So what he wants is he's been kidnapped and his body's been destroyed, and he's literally just a brain in a jar, or brain inside a jar. And he has this astral plane that he's going to Kurt to talk to him with. And so Kurt helps him by getting him a new clone body through the Crowan resurrection chambers. And we get a nice little like back and forth between Legion and Xavier. Anyone doesn't know, that's Xavier's kid in the future. But the whole crux of it is that they have to go into Legion's brain to kind of fix a few things. So he gets this team together to go in there and like fight the demons inside Legion's brain. And once again, if you know Legion's character, it's a little fucked up in there. And then it sets it up where I feel like this is going to be a buddy comic moving forward, where it's going to be Legion and Kurt trying to move forward and figure out what the role of religion and mysticism is inside of Krakoa. So I'm really liking this book. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Cool.
Radiant Black #4. Anyone that doesn't want it spoiled, just fast forward like 2 minutes, because I'm going to spoil the shit out of this book. We get like the other, so we get kind of how this black hole got to Earth, and it seems like there's some sort of alien race that's brought it to Earth to try to prepare warriors to fight off something that's coming. And the other guy who got the red radiant guy comes and fights our lead character and basically beats the shit out of him. And it forces Radiant Black to have his historic moment where he tries to save a bunch of people inside this building. But what ends up happening is he gets everybody out and the building collapses on top of him and he dies.
Oh.
So he's dead.
He's dead. All right.
And then his buddy, who's been helping him the whole time, is there. And the black hole just rises through the rubble as he's like crying his eyes out because his buddy just died. and it ends with him reaching out and grabbing the black hole, and then us having the sequence of that alien race giving him the whole rundown.
Damn.
So I love that they just flipped this book on its ass in the 4th issue. It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Star Wars Bounty Hunters number 12, which is a part of the War of the Bounty Hunters 32 issue crossover.
Oh my god.
This is basically Valiant's and and his teammate there fighting the whole issue over what to do. And then there's kind of a flashback to Valiant's time after he got out of the academy and him getting a mission where he has to kill a high priority target, and he ends up finding out that it's Han Solo, who he went to boot camp with and was friends with, and blah, blah, blah. And that's just setting up the fact that Valiant has decided he's going to go find Boba Fett and he's going to save Han from the carbonite. Okay. It was a good issue. I'm really looking forward to the series. I think next week the official War of the Bounty Hunters number 1 comes out, and I want to see like all these characters mesh together and interact. Daredevil number 30. So Elektra takes on an orphaned young girl to be her new ward, which was interesting. And then she kind of just starts telling all the crooks in the area, like, listen, I'm Daredevil now, and you're not going to fuck with Hell's Kitchen anymore. And there's a new crime boss that basically takes over for Fisk in Hell's Kitchen. And she just goes right up to him and tells him, like, you need to get the fuck out of here because this is my town. Okay. And it goes very poorly. Meanwhile, Matt's in prison and he got shanked. And now he's trying to recover from that. And he basically had a bunch of his buddies got him a deal to get out of prison. And he's like, no, I got to, I'm going to do the time. It's the right thing to do. And when he's being transported back to the prison, one of his friends was a cop, is in there and just sits down with him and be like, listen, you asshole. You think it's the right thing to do? Everybody out here is working their ass off to get you out of here, and you're going to die in there if you stay in there another week. And kind of just slaps him with the knowledge, like, listen, get your head out of your ass. Yeah. I mean, it's Chip Zdarsky writing, so I'm loving it. And I've said before, is it Marco Cinchetto? Yeah, Marco Cinchetto is the perfect Daredevil artist, so
awesome.
Heroes Reborn number 3. It's the Flash issue, everybody.
Nice.
So we follow the Blur, and so what they're doing is they're basically DC-ifying the Marvel Universe in this. Yeah. So, like, I talked about last issue with it being Superman, and this one's Flash. So, like, instead of Gorilla Grodd, it's Ursa, the bear. Okay. Is, like, the super powerful telepathic thing. Yep. And the big speedster they fight is a combination of Wanda and Quicksilver. So it's Wanda, but she runs real fast, and she can do, like, a ton of hexes in the speed time or speed force, whatever the fuck they're calling it. And then there's also, instead of the Ghost Rider, it's the Ghost Runner. So, like, he has to fight the Ghost Runner at one point.
That's awesome.
It's a lot of fun. It's just like, it's a weird experiment that they're doing, but I'm enjoying the hell out of it. And then the backup story, they have to go and keep recruiting for this new Avengers team. And they end up trying to go find the person who is now holding the Phoenix Force, which was revealed in the last run of Avengers comics. Okay. I don't know. I love it. It's fun. It's goofy. It's, like I said, it's DC find the Marvel Universe, and it's just a fun little experiment they're doing.
Awesome.
And then the last thing I had was I read X-O Manowar Volume 1 because we're doing Episode 1 of Club Valiant. So everybody go watch that if you want my thoughts on X-O Manowar number 1. I'll just say it's good. I mean, we talked about it before when we had Venditti on the show. Yeah. But it's a good first volume for that whole thing.
Cool.
So, Mike, now that I've talked on forever, where can people find you on the internet?
They can find me at Fortress Ricker on Twitter. Where can they find you and or the show?
They can find me at Fortress Chris on Twitter and the show at Fortress Comics _ on Twitter and Instagram. And you can also follow the show at fortresscomicnews.com. Remember, everybody, if you're watching this, to like, subscribe, share, comment down below on the video. And if you're listening, to give us a 5-star review or comment or whatever system your podcatcher uses to review podcasts. We really appreciate it. And if you want to be that extra special listener, to go to patreon.com/fortresscomics for extra goodies. Everybody, you're listening to this Monday, hopefully, when it comes out. If you are, you can go back. I did a live stream with 2 live streams with IFLC. One about Army of Darkness, where we go more in depth, and one was the Club Valiant podcast. That will also be on podcatchers this week.
Army of the Dead.
So what I say?
Yeah, Army of Darkness, because I would have jumped in on that one if it was.
Yeah, Army of the Dead. Sorry.
It's all good.
Or I'll talk a little more about that movie. So
yeah,
check those out. And follow us on Twitter and whatnot. So thank you all so much for listening. We'll see y'all here next week.
Bye.